audiobook excerpt from You're Welcome by Dave O'Connell, read by the author. Korea, 1967. UCMJ.
When you're inducted, you forfeit most of your constitutional rights and become subject to the Uniform Code of Military Justice, UCMJ. There's a plausible cause for this. When the commander yells charge, you can't have individuals quibbling about civil liberties. But even my friends in the Judge Advocate General's office refer to it as the Random Code of Military Justice. Its biggest flaw is command influence. If the general says you hang, because the judge, jury, and lawyers are all officers subordinate to that general who can ruin their careers if they fail to do as he wants. There's almost no appeal to civilian authority. Pat developed a special loathing for the UCMJ and eventually took matters into his own hands. It started with the case of PFC Harding. Harding was young, lively, good-humored, and had an easy smile. He was also black. One night he came back to the barracks just after lights out, probably with an extra beer or two in his system, and joked around with the others. Standard behavior. The Southern sergeant who occupied the cavalry room came out and yelled, "Knock that shit off." "Oh, come on, man." "Don't call me man." "What do you want me to call you, boy?" That did it. The sergeant yelled that he would bring Harding up on drunken disorderly, insubordination, and whatever else he could think of in the morning. It was Pat's job to prepare the Article 15 paperwork. And Article 15 is punishment executed by a company commander without trial. Pat believed that knock that shit off did not constitute a legal order and that the charges were nullified by the NCO's improper behavior. He told Harding so and advised him to refuse the Article 15 and demand a summary court-martial. A summary court-martial takes matters out of the company commander's hands and assigns it to a field grade officer, usually from outside the defendant's chain of command. The officer wears all the hats and acts as defense attorney, prosecutor, judge, and jury. He must document his work on each role and detail all the evidence and testimony. Harding asked for one and was acquitted. Pat was proven right, but it was still very bad advice. As a rule, you should only thwart an army authority if you are sure you can get out of that authority's reach. Harding was left in place, and our nasty first sergeant set out to get even. Harding found himself denied passes, assigned extra duty, and harassed at every turn. Most of what the first sergeant did was illegal, but he acted with impunity, and Harding was powerless. The lifer NCOs joined in and imposed all the punishments they thought they could get away with. They rode him for 6 months before he finally went to the village without a pass. They were waiting for him. They had a whole phony case prepared and took his money, his stripe, and his freedom. He was defeated, and Pat was enraged and ashamed by the outcome of his advice. After that, Pat went underground and did not offer advice. If he thought a good man was being screwed, he would prepare the paperwork and forward the copies through me. He would bury half and I would bury the other half. He would go to the soldier and tell him, "Take off the stripe and keep your mouth shut. When you get home, sew the stripe back on. You won't lose any pay and nobody will be the wiser." To get this treatment, the soldier had to be close to his return date and trusted to keep quiet. One beneficiary was Claude, a truck driver who was a career man. After we were out, Pat would call every few years to tell me that Claude had passed through Kansas City and had stopped by to say thanks once again.